The massive crystal dome of the Galactic Council chamber sparkled under the light of 3 suns. 200 representatives from across the galaxy sat in rising tiers that formed a perfect circle. Their voices echoed off the transparent walls as they discussed humanity's petition for full membership. Admiral James Walker sat quietly in the observers section, his weathered face revealing nothing as the council members talked about his species. "These humans," spoke the blue-skinned council leader Marcus, his long fingers tapping on his desk. "They've barely mastered faster-than-light travel. Half their colonies still rely on basic fusion power. How can they possibly think they're ready for full membership?" His words brought agreeing sounds from many other members. A tall, gray-skinned alien with 4 arms stood up. "I studied their military capabilities," he said with a sound like grinding rocks. "Their strongest ships would struggle against even our patrol vessels. They have no energy shields, just primitive metal armor." Laughter rippled through the chamber. Walker kept his hands folded in his lap, his military training helping him stay still despite the insults. Earth needed this membership. With the Crimson Empire pushing at their borders, humanity needed allies. But these aliens saw humans as nothing more than clever animals who had stumbled into space. "Let us review their application," Marcus continued, touching the glowing screen. "They offer trade in raw materials, mostly iron and copper. Their technology is generations behind current standards. Their military—" He paused, making a sound that might have been a laugh. "Well, we've heard about that. I see no reason to grant them anything more than their current observer status." A small bird-like alien fluttered its wings. "Perhaps we should give them credit for their quick learning. It's only been 50 years since first contact. No other species has spread to so many colonies so quickly." "Speed without wisdom is dangerous," replied Marcus. "Look at their history. They still fight among themselves. Their planet bears the scars of atomic weapons. Do we really want such an unstable species having a voice in galactic matters?" Walker thought about the secret he carried, deep in the outer reaches of Earth's solar system, hidden from prying eyes. Humanity's real power was almost ready. These aliens, with all their advanced technology, had never imagined that humans would be able to reverse engineer that crashed ship they'd found 30 years ago. The council chamber grew louder as more members joined the discussion. Some supported giving humans a chance, but most agreed with Marcus. They saw Earth as a backwater world, barely worth noticing. A few even suggested pushing humans back to their home system, for their own safety. "Admiral Walker," Marcus suddenly called out, making the human look up. "You've been very quiet. Do you have anything to say in support of your petition?" Walker stood slowly, his blue uniform standing out among the colorful alien robes. "Council leader, respected members," he said calmly, "humanity doesn't ask for your approval of our methods or our history. We ask only for the chance to prove ourselves as equals." "Equals?" Marcus leaned forward. "Your species still uses chemical rockets for planetary landing. Your ships need weeks to travel distances our vessels cover in days. What makes you think you're ready to be equals?" Before Walker could answer, an aide rushed into the chamber. The small alien hurried to Marcus and whispered something that made the council leader's skin turn a darker shade of blue. "This session will take a short recess," Marcus announced. "We have reports of Crimson Empire ships moving in unusual patterns near human space." Walker felt his personal communicator vibrate. The message was short: "Thunderchild ready." He allowed himself a small smile as the council members filed out of the chamber. Soon, they would all learn that humanity had been holding back, watching and learning. The real show was about to begin. The crystal dome darkened as artificial night fell over the council station. Walker stood at a viewing window, watching distant ships move through space like bright stars. In less than a day, everyone in this station would understand why humans had a saying: "Don't judge a book by its cover." Hidden within Neptune's swirling storms, the massive shipyard floated like a metal spider web in space. Its dark surface absorbed light rather than reflecting it, making it nearly invisible to passing ships. Inside the main control room, Project Director Anna Thompson stared at the final readiness reports coming in from different sections of the facility. The project that had consumed the last 15 years of her life was almost complete. On the main screen, the HMS Thunderchild hung in its dock, its black hull decorated with only a small Earth flag and its name in simple white letters. The ship looked plain compared to the flashy vessels of other species, but that was the point. Its true power lay hidden beneath its ordinary exterior. Main reactor is stable at 98%, reported the technical chief through the comms system. Dimensional drive is synced with Aria's core processors. All weapons systems show green. Anna watched as maintenance drones made their final checks around the ship's hull. The Thunderchild was smaller than most alien warships, another deliberate choice. While other species built ever larger vessels to show their power, humanity had focused on quality over size. Every cubic inch of the ship held technology that would make those council members choke on their words. Aria. Anna called out to the ship's AI, "Run a full systems diagnostic." A smooth, gender-neutral voice filled the room. Beginning diagnostic scan. Estimated time, 12 minutes. Aria was perhaps their greatest achievement, an AI that could think faster than any computer the council races had built, yet appear simple enough to avoid suspicion. Anna walked to the observation window, remembering the day they'd found the crashed ship in the Antarctic ice. Most of the vessel had been destroyed, but its computer core remained intact. While the council races thought humans were struggling with basic spaceflight, Earth's best minds had been taking apart and understanding technology centuries ahead of their time. Director Thompson called one of her staff. Message from Admiral Walker at the council station. The Crimson Empire is moving ships toward our outer colonies. Anna nodded. They'd expected this. The Crimson Empire had been pushing at human borders for months, testing their defenses. They thought they were dealing with a weak species that could barely defend itself. The truth would shock them all. Diagnostic complete. Aria announced. All systems operating at optimal levels. The Thunderchild is ready for deployment. Commander Robert Miller entered the control room, already wearing his flight suit. His crew of 20, small by galactic standards, had trained for years in secret for this moment. They knew every inch of their ship, every capability that would soon surprise the galaxy. The carrier group near Mars is reporting Crimson Empire scout ships, Miller said, his voice steady. They're being careful to stay in neutral space, but their intentions are clear. Anna turned to face him. The Council, still debating whether humanity deserves full membership. Miller smiled slightly. Admiral Walker says they spent an hour discussing our primitive shield technology. If they only knew. The Thunderchild's shields operated on principles the Council races hadn't even discovered yet. While they used brute force energy fields, humanity had developed phase shift technology that could make attacks pass through the ship as if it wasn't there. Final preparations are complete, Anna announced to the room. Commander Miller, your ship is ready. Miller straightened. Time to show the galaxy what humanity can really do. Not yet. Wait for Admiral Walker's signal. We want the Council to have front row seats when we reveal our true capabilities. Anna looked back at the Thunderchild. Let them underestimate us for a few more hours. The maintenance drones returned to their bays as the shipyard's lights dimmed to minimal levels. Soon, the Crimson Empire would make their move, thinking they faced a primitive species barely worth their attention. The Council would watch, expecting humans to beg for help or surrender. Instead, they would all learn that humanity had never been the weak, primitive species they thought. The Thunderchild wasn't just a warship. It was humanity's declaration that they wouldn't be looked down upon any longer. In the darkness of Neptune's orbit, humanity's secret weapon waited, ready to change the galaxy's balance of power forever. The emergency sirens on New Haven Colony wailed through the night. Red lights flashed across the dome-covered settlement as colonists rushed to their shelter areas. Above them, through the transparent sections of the dome, they could see the bright flashes of weapons fire in orbit. The Crimson Empire had finally made their move. Their ships, painted in their signature dark red color, moved into attack positions around 3 human colonies simultaneously. Their fleet commanders had expected the humans to panic, to run, to beg the Council for help. Instead, they found the colonies evacuating in perfect order, as if they'd been preparing for this moment. In the Council chamber, Admiral Walker stood calmly as the emergency session descended into chaos. The massive view screens showed tactical displays of the Crimson Empire's invasion fleet, over 50 warships, all aimed at humanity's outer settlements. This is precisely why primitive species shouldn't be allowed to expand so quickly, Council leader Marcus announced, his blue skin almost white with agitation. They attract the attention of powers they can't hope to resist. The bird-like counselor fluttered nervously. We must send peacekeepers. The humans cannot defend themselves against such a force. Walker checked his communicator again. The message from Anna Thompson was clear. Thunderchild in position, awaiting your command. He allowed himself a small smile before speaking up. The Crimson Empire has transmitted their demands, Walker announced to the chamber. The room fell silent as he continued. They require the immediate surrender of all human colonies outside our solar system. We have 48 hours to comply, or they will take them by force. A wave of murmurs swept through the council. Most members nodded, clearly expecting humans to accept these terms. After all, what choice did such a weak species have? The gray-skinned alien with 4 arms spoke up. The terms are harsh but fair. Humans should never have expanded so far without proper defenses. Accept the demands, retreat to your home system, and perhaps in a few centuries you'll be ready to try again. Walker stepped to the center of the chamber. Humanity rejects these terms. The chamber erupted in shocked voices. Marcus stood up, his voice cutting through the noise. You cannot be serious. Your ships are no match for their fleet. Your weapons can barely scratch their shields. This is suicide. Nevertheless, Walker replied calmly, we reject their terms. Humanity will not surrender an inch of territory to threats and violence. The main view screen suddenly flashed with new information. The Crimson Empire's flagship was transmitting directly to the council chamber. Their commander, a tall figure hidden in ceremonial armor, appeared on screen. Council members, human representative, the commander's metallic voice echoed through the chamber. Your response is noted but foolish. We expected more wisdom. To demonstrate our resolve, we will now take one of your colonies. Consider it a preview of what awaits if you continue this futile resistance. The tactical display showed 20 Crimson warships moving toward New Haven Colony. The human defenders, 3 small patrol ships, retreated immediately. More sounds of dismay filled the chamber as council members watched what they thought would be a slaughter. Walker's communicator vibrated. He opened the message. Thunderchild engaging in 5 minutes. Suggest you make sure everyone is watching. Admiral Walker, Marcus called out, actual concern in his voice. Be reasonable. You can still save lives by surrendering now. Those are your people up there. Walker looked around the chamber, meeting the eyes of various council members. Yes, those are our people. And we protect our own. He paused, checking the time. In fact, I suggest everyone pay very close attention to what happens next. Humanity is about to demonstrate why you should never judge a species by its apparent limitations. The council members looked confused, but they all turned to watch the tactical display. The Crimson Empire's ships moved into attack formation around New Haven, their weapons powering up. They expected a quick victory, a simple demonstration of power against a weak opponent. None of them noticed the small distortion in space, just outside their sensor range, as the Thunderchild prepared to make its entrance. The galaxy was about to learn a valuable lesson about underestimating humanity. The Crimson Empire's warships hung in space like red stars around New Haven Colony. Their weapons charged, creating a web of targeting beams that lit up the darkness. In the council chamber, aliens from 100 worlds watched in tense silence, waiting for what they thought would be a quick and brutal demonstration of power. Final warning to human forces. The Crimson Commander's voice boomed through the chamber. Surrender the colony or face immediate destruction. Admiral Walker checked his watch and smiled. No. The chamber erupted in shocked whispers. Even the council members who had supported humanity looked away, not wanting to witness the expected slaughter. The tactical display showed the Crimson ships moving into their final attack positions. Then something strange happened. The stars behind the Crimson fleet seemed to bend. A ripple moved through space itself, like a wave through water. The Crimson ship's sensors detected it too late. By the time their alarms sounded, the HMS Thunderchild had already emerged from its dimensional shift. What is that? Council leader Marcus leaned forward, his blue skin paling. Those energy readings. Impossible. The Thunderchild looked small compared to the Crimson warships. Its black hull absorbed nearby light, making it seem like a ship-shaped hole in space. No weapons were visible on its surface. No energy shields shimmered around it. It just sat there, facing 20 enemy warships without showing any signs of fear or preparation. Unknown vessel. The Crimson Commander's voice carried a note of uncertainty now. You have entered a military engagement zone. Withdraw or be destroyed. Inside the Thunderchild's bridge, Commander Robert Miller sat in his captain's chair, his crew of 20 at their stations. Area. Analysis of enemy fleet. 20 vessels detected. The AI responded smoothly. Their shield configurations match known Crimson Empire patterns. Tactical solution ready. The Crimson Commander grew impatient. Open fire. Destroy this foolish intruder. Red beams of energy lanced out from the Crimson ships, enough firepower to crack a small moon. The council chamber fell silent as everyone expected to see the small black ship vanish in a ball of fire. Instead, the beams passed right through the Thunderchild, as if it wasn't there. Phase shift successful. Area announced calmly. 0 damage received. Enemy ships recalibrating weapons. In the council chamber, the alien representatives stood up, their voices mixing in confusion and shock. The tactical displays showed something their sensors couldn't explain. A ship that could simply choose not to be where attacks hit it. Now, Miller commanded, show them what we can do. Weapons free. The Thunderchild's smooth hull rippled. Panels slid aside revealing weapon ports that hadn't been visible before. But instead of firing energy beams or missiles, the ship released what looked like small black spheres. What are those? The bird-like counselor asked, wings fluttering in agitation. Admiral Walker finally spoke. We call them dimensional anchors. Watch. The spheres zipped through space, easily avoiding the panicked fire from the Crimson ships. When they reached their targets, they didn't explode. Instead, they created fields of twisted space around the enemy vessels. The massive red warships found themselves unable to move, trapped in bubbles where the laws of physics had been locally rewritten. Impossible. The Crimson Commander's voice shook. No species has this technology. The Council banned dimensional warfare research centuries ago. The Council banned it, Walker replied calmly. But humanity never signed that treaty. We were too primitive to be included in such important decisions, remember? The Thunderchild moved through the trapped Crimson fleet like a shark through shallow water. Its weapons didn't destroy the enemy ships. They simply disabled them, cutting through their shields as if they weren't there, shutting down their systems with surgical precision. In less than 5 minutes, 20 of the most powerful warships in the galaxy hung powerless in space, their crews unhurt but thoroughly defeated. The Thunderchild took up position above New Haven Colony, its message clear. Humanity was done playing weak. In the council chamber, no one spoke. They all stared at the tactical display, trying to process what they had just witnessed. Their carefully ordered galaxy, their assumptions about humanity's place in it, had just been turned upside down by a single black ship. The remaining Crimson Empire ships rushed toward New Haven Colony like angry wasps. Their commanders had watched 20 of their best ships get disabled by the mysterious black vessel, but they still outnumbered this single human ship 30-1. Surely those odds would be enough. They were wrong. The Thunderchild moved in ways that defied normal space combat. When enemy ships fired, it simply wasn't where their weapons hit. Commander Miller sat calmly in his chair as ARIA coordinated their defense patterns. The AI could process combat information faster than any organic crew, turning the entire ship into a deadly dance of impossible movements. Multiple ships approaching from Vector 317, ARIA reported. They are attempting to surround us. Miller nodded. Show them why that's a bad idea. Initiate scatter protocol. The Crimson ships formed a sphere around the Thunderchild, their weapons charging for a synchronized blast that would saturate the entire area with energy fire. No ship could dodge attacks from every direction at once, or so they thought. Just as they fired, the Thunderchild split into 7 identical copies, each one sliding through a different dimensional plane. The Crimson ship's weapons passed harmlessly through the space where their target had been, and now they faced multiple versions of the same deadly vessel. In the council chamber, the alien representatives watched in stunned silence. The tactical display showed something their best scientists had claimed was impossible: a ship existing in multiple dimensional states at once. Those can't all be real, the gray-skinned alien muttered. They must be holograms or sensor ghosts. Admiral Walker smiled. Each version is as real as the others, just operating in a different layer of spacetime. We call it quantum branching. Quite effective, isn't it? The Thunderchild's copies moved through the enemy fleet like wolves among sheep. Each one could fire dimensional anchors, creating zones where enemy ships found themselves trapped in twisted pockets of space. Some Crimson vessels tried to flee, their crews finally understanding they faced something far beyond their experience. Enemy ships attempting emergency warp jumps. ARIA announced on the Thunderchild's bridge. Not today, Miller replied. Deploy the web. The 7 versions of the Thunderchild released what looked like strands of dark energy. These strands connected, forming a massive net that caught the light of nearby stars. Any Crimson ship that tried to activate its faster-than-light drive found itself tangled in this dimensional web, their powerful engines useless against technology they couldn't understand. The Crimson commander's voice crackled through all channels, no longer confident but desperate. This is impossible. You're a primitive species. You barely have working shield technology. Actually, Miller responded calmly, we have excellent shields. We just never showed them to anyone. ARIA, demonstrate please. One of the remaining Crimson ships, in a last desperate move, rammed directly toward the nearest Thunderchild copy. Instead of dodging, the black ship simply activated its true shields. The enemy vessel bounced off an invisible barrier, as if it had hit a rubber wall, its kinetic energy absorbed and redirected. Shield absorption successful, ARIA reported, converting enemy kinetic energy to power reserves. Ship efficiency now at 112%. In less than 15 minutes, the entire battle was over. 50 of the Crimson Empire's finest warships hung powerless in space, their crews alive but thoroughly defeated. The 7 copies of the Thunderchild merged back into one vessel, taking up position above New Haven Colony like a guardian angel. The council chamber had gone completely silent. The tactical displays showed something unprecedented. A single ship from a primitive species had just defeated a fleet that could have conquered half the council worlds. Admiral Walker stood in the center of the chamber, his quiet smile saying more than words ever could. Impossible. Council leader Marcus whispered, all this time, you were just letting us think you were weak. Not weak, Walker corrected. Patient. We used the time you gave us, watching how advanced species fought, learning from their mistakes, developing technologies they never imagined. The Thunderchild isn't just a warship, it's humanity's graduation announcement. Above New Haven Colony, the black ship hung silently in space, its mere presence a declaration that the galaxy's balance of power had just changed forever. The emergency council session had stretched into its 6th hour. The chamber, usually a model of order and diplomatic calm, had turned into something closer to a sporting arena. Representatives from 200 worlds argued, shouted, and demanded explanations. The Thunderchild's demonstration had shaken the very foundation of galactic politics. Council leader Marcus stood at his podium, trying to restore order. His blue skin had taken on a pale, almost white shade that showed his stress. One at a time. We must discuss this rationally. The bird-like counselor fluttered above her seat. Rational. They hid this technology from us. Who knows what else they're hiding? They could have more ships like this. Admiral Walker stood calmly in the center of the chaos. Project Director Anna Thompson had joined him, bringing technical data about the Thunderchild that made the Council's scientific experts scratch their heads in confusion. The dimensional drive alone, one expert said, waving a datapad, this shouldn't be possible for centuries. And these phase shift shields, we theorized about them, but no one ever made them work. The gray-skinned alien with 4 arms pointed accusingly at Walker. You played us for fools. All those primitive ships, the basic technology, it was all a trick. Not a trick, Anna replied, her voice cutting through the noise. A test. We watched how you treated those you considered inferior. It told us everything we needed to know about the Council. The chamber grew quiet as she continued. Some of you helped struggling species, offered guidance, showed compassion. Others, she looked pointedly at several representatives, showed only contempt. We took notes. A new face appeared on the main screen. The Crimson Empire's High Command. Their leader looked like they had aged years in the past few hours. This is an outrage. You can't simply disable an entire fleet and expect no consequences. Your fleet attacked our colonies, Walker responded calmly. We defended ourselves with minimal force. No ships destroyed, no lives lost. Would you have shown the same restraint? The silence that followed answered his question. Everyone in the chamber knew the Crimson Empire's reputation for brutality. Their disabled fleet, now being towed back to their space by human rescue ships, represented the most humane defeat in recent galactic history. Marcus finally found his voice again. The technological implications alone. These innovations could change everything. Dimensional warfare was banned for good reasons. We didn't develop weapons. Anna corrected him. We developed defenses. The Thunderchild can't destroy planets or rip space apart like the ancient dimensional weapons. It protects, disables, contains. We learned from history's mistakes. The Council's weapon experts confirmed her words. The Thunderchild's systems were designed with safeguards that prevented the kind of catastrophic damage that had led to the dimensional warfare ban. Humanity had taken forbidden technology and made it safe. And now what? A counselor from the outer rings asked. You reveal this power and expect us to simply accept it. Walker stepped forward. What we expect is respect. Not fear, not submission. Just recognition that humanity has earned its place among the stars. We're not here to conquer or dominate. We're here to help build a better galaxy. A better galaxy? Marcus asked quietly. How? The Thunderchild's technology can revolutionize space travel, make shipping safer, protect colonies from natural disasters. Anna explained. We're willing to share, to teach, to collaborate, but only with those who treat us as equals. The chamber erupted in excited whispers. The promise of new technology, especially technology that could be safely controlled, was like honey to the council races. Representatives who had dismissed humanity hours ago were now trying to catch Walker's eye, hoping to establish connections. Marcus raised his hands for silence. This changes things. The council will need time to process these developments, to understand the implications. Of course, Walker nodded. We've waited 50 years. We can wait a few more days. He paused, allowing himself a small smile. But remember, The Thunderchild isn't alone. It's just the first of its kind that we chose to reveal. The chamber exploded in questions again, but Walker and Anna simply stood there, letting the council races come to terms with their new reality. The age of underestimating humanity was over. 1 month after the Thunderchild's revelation, the Galactic Council chamber looked very different. The rising tiers of seats had been rearranged to form a perfect circle with no higher or lower positions. At the center of this circle, a new seat had been installed, humanity's permanent place on the council. Admiral Walker stood by the great viewing window, watching ships move through space around the station. Many of them now carried the distinctive black hull plating developed by human engineers. The council races had eagerly accepted humanity's offer to share their defensive technology, though not their dimensional drive secrets. Not yet. The Crimson Empire's peace treaty is ready for signing, Council Leader Marcus said, approaching Walker. The blue-skinned alien moved differently now, with respect rather than condescension. They've accepted all terms, including the demilitarized zone along human space. Amazing what a change in perspective can do, Walker replied, smiling slightly. Through the window, he could see the Thunderchild patrolling nearby, its black hull reflecting starlight. The ship had become a symbol across the galaxy, a reminder that appearances could be deceiving. In the Neptune shipyards, now openly visible to allied races, Project Director Anna Thompson supervised the construction of 5 new ships. Each one incorporated lessons learned from the Thunderchild, but with their own unique capabilities. The secret was out, but humanity still had plenty of surprises in reserve. The educational exchange program starts next week, Anna told the assembled alien engineers. We'll teach you our shield technology, and you'll share your expertise in other areas. Together, we'll build something greater than any one species could manage alone. The aliens watched in fascination as construction drones moved around a partially built ship. Its hull rippled with the same light-absorbing surface as the Thunderchild, but its shape was different, designed for deep space exploration rather than combat. Commander Miller had become something of a celebrity across Council space. The Thunderchild's crew received invitations to every major world, but they spent most of their time training other ships' crews in the new defensive systems. The galaxy was changing, and humanity was helping guide that change. Miller asked one quiet evening on the bridge, "What's your analysis of the past month's developments?" The AI's response came with what almost sounded like amusement. Council species have submitted 342 proposals for joint projects. 97% showed genuine interest in collaboration rather than attempting to acquire restricted technology, a significant improvement from pre-revelation statistics. In the council chamber, representatives now debated the formation of a new organization, the Galactic Defense Initiative. Its mission would be to protect younger species as they developed, ensuring no race faced the kind of prejudice humanity had endured. The Thunderchild would serve as its flagship, a guardian rather than a warrior. "We've received another message from the Rim colonies," an aide told Walker. 3 more species requesting membership in the council. They say humanity's example gave them courage to step forward. Walker nodded, remembering how it felt to sit quietly while others dismissed his species as primitive. Those days were gone. Humanity had proven that true strength didn't come from showing off power, but from knowing when to reveal it. The Crimson Empire's defeated fleet had been returned to them, along with detailed reports on how their ships could be improved. It was a gesture that confused many council races, helping an enemy become stronger. But humanity understood something they didn't. The best way to prevent future wars was to turn enemies into allies. As the galactic day cycle drew to a close, the Thunderchild took up its patrol position near Earth. In its wake followed ships from 20 different species, their crews learning humanity's techniques for space combat and rescue operations. The ship that had shocked the galaxy had become a teacher. Perhaps, Council Leader Marcus said during a closing ceremony, "We needed this lesson. We grew too comfortable in our assumptions, too certain of our superiority. Humanity didn't just show us new technology. They showed us a better way to welcome new species into our community. The chamber's lights dimmed as representatives filed out, their conversations filled with plans and possibilities rather than politics and prejudice. Above them, visible through the crystal dome, the Thunderchild's black hull caught the light of distant stars. It was no longer just a warship or a symbol. It was a bridge between the old galaxy and the new one humanity helped build.